Where to find good employees. So we have a lot to talk about. I started with a lot of employees. I grew to 150 plus employees. I've overseen over 82 when I was at Chevron. There's a lot that you could do to find a good employee. I can tell you what you can't find is good work ethic. So that's where we start. Are you willing to come to work? Specifically, I want to share three things. Number one, I don't have employees anymore. I have ICs, and I'm going to tell you why. Number two, if you do want employees, how do you network through professional agencies? How do you use job boards? How do you find them? How do you actually use referrals inside the industry and create incentives to hire them, to have them come work for you versus someone else, whether they're an employee or an independent contractor? And then number three, where do you just get them off the street? And I'll tell you some of the stories I have. I've gotten them from all sorts of places. So first of all, let's talk about this IC. So first of all, they're not just an IC, sole proprietor. They're a company. So they have an LLC. And if they don't have one, they can come in for a little while, get oriented to it, and then start understanding in the work that I teach. And of course, all of our new team members are required to come out here on our YouTube channel and get caught up on what we teach. Because having contractors, you're in a company-to-company relationship. It's a very different experience. And there are so many people, some from the pandemic, who stayed home, who wanted to become entrepreneurs. There are more women in the workforce and providing services than ever before, which is phenomenal. And they need to be incorporated right. So I'm actually going to give you a link to get your business set up properly. So for those of you out there that think, well, I'm an employee. Well, what if your employer could hire your company instead of the other? So now you can have accounts as a company. So I am the largest account of a lot of the folks that work on our team. They can do other side things, but it's all an agreement. It's all with transparency. With that, though, remember, it's a contract. So it's different having a contract with a company than hiring a person with a paycheck. I always say a paycheck is like a gun. Right? And that gun is called their paycheck, and you get to manipulate them with it. I don't like that behavior. I'm a professional. I have a company. You're a professional. You have a company. You're going to provide services. So everyone around this organization has their own company that works for this company, extremely legal, honors the IC 21 rule if they're an independent contractor or not. And most of them don't work for one company because we have multiple companies. So some of you that are beginners, just start like with some freelancers. There's tons of online platforms. There's online job boards. There's things like that. If you need to take them as an employee, take them for a while, but I'd love to coach you on how to create a company-to-company relationship. They'll be more long-standing. Their goals get met. They get to say, this is what I want, this is who I want to grow and be in the organization. So if you're not set up like that and it's more of a stock and block, like they got to come to work, it's more 9 to 5, you're going to need to employ them. So where do you find them? Again, I have other recordings on where do you find good employees, job boards, industry fairs or industry events, job fairs, interns, referrals, things like that. How do you find people here? Like my favorite right now is word of mouth, quite frankly. I've been hiring and had ads out since the beginning of the pandemic because there's been a churn of people who have a work ethic, because you can't hire, I would say you can't hire a work ethic, you can't hire the energy to want to come and be part of a team, right? You can hire that and then train them in other things. So assure that you are networking through your professional organizations, asking for referrals, people who might want to leave, people who are going, moving, things like that. People have been still demographically moving, across the country. So pick them up on their way across. Now, before I give you my how do you hire them straight off the streets and some of my fun stories about how I've done it, subscribe to my channel, click the notification button, grab my YouTube journal called The Millionaire Maker. Inside of it, it's what did you learn? What are you going to do about it? I want you to create an action plan out here. I want you to be engaged. That's who I am. I'm high touch. I want you to ask questions. Go to askloral.com. Be a part of our community. If there's a topic that I'm not talking about, go to the comment section down below and click into that. And remember, I've given you a bunch of gifts. I want you to go talk to our incorporation team, see what company you need and how you're going to actually use that company. If you want to lean in farther, come mentor and coach with us. Love to have you, love to have your community, love to help you learn how to find good employees. Let me tell you my favorite stories. I've plucked them straight out of Starbucks, the grocery store, restaurants, you name it. If they have provided amazing service and were high touch and had that kind of energy that I want on my team, I'd offer them a bigger job. I've taken people straight out of massive companies and, in return, I've had people taken away from me. So I got to say it works both ways. But those of you that are out, I know a client of mine has a call center and he was on with is it Land's End? I think it's Land's End, and Eddie Bauer, that whole brand. And he literally hired the people remotely because of the call center, because his ability to take them through an upsell, downsell process was phenomenal. I'll never forget, he called, he said, "You're never going to believe, I called the very guy who was taking my shirt order that ended up ordering a shirt, a tie, pants, shoes, the whole thing." He said, "I had to hire him." He said, "He got me from buying a shirt to everything." So pay attention to who's serving you, and maybe they could work on your team. Interns is always another great option. Take them straight out of university and offer them, if you can, 3 credit hours to be an intern for the first semester. See if they work energetically on your team. If not, hand them back. If you want to, take them on and make them be part of your team. And again, if you're interested in how to have a company versus an employee, call our office. It's in the description below. And always ask a question. Go out to AskLoral.com. Let's have a conversation.